La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha.
The next item on the agenda is the roles and responsibilities of Waqf-E-Nau. It's going to be anchored by our Mubalik, Molvi, Sulaiman, Abdul Hakeem Saab, who is usually one of our lecturers. Molvi Saab.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. With the grace of Allah, once again, you are holding the Waqf-E-Nau National Ijtema. I hope that you will have all benefited from the various programs and events that have taken place. The topic before me today is the roles and responsibilities of Waqf-E-Nau. And the following are extracts from the sayings of His Holiness Hadrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the 5th Khalifa, Ayadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz. These are his addresses to the Waqf-E-Nau around the globe through the various Ijtema that has been held in UK and in other parts of the world. His Holiness Ayadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz, while addressing the Waqf-E-Nau Ijtema held in the UK, addressed all the Waqf-E-Nau with the following words. I pray that Almighty Allah help me to deliver His Holiness admonitions to us all. And I pray that Almighty Allah make it beneficiary to all the listeners. Amen. In a world rife with distractions and materialism, how can we ensure that our younger generations retain their spirituality? One way is through the Waqf-E-Nau scheme. The Waqf-E-Nau scheme allows parents to pledge their children to the service of Ahmadiyya Muslim community before they are born. Once the children reach adulthood, they can choose to voluntarily renew their pledge. His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Ayadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz, Khalifatul Masih V, worldwide head of Ahmadiyya Muslim community, explained that young Waqf-E-Nau members should be humble and strive to constantly improve themselves. If all of the current Waqf-E-Nau reach their potentials, it will lead to a huge increase in our tabligh of efforts. Inshallah, with each day that passes, the Jamaat continue to succeed and grow due to the blessings of Allah the Almighty. Hence, each year, many more children are being born into this blessed scheme, both here in the UK and across the globe. His Holiness Ayadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz, addressing the Waqf-E-Nau at the National Ijtema, held on the 25th of February 2018, said, "The number of the Waqf-E-Nau at this time is more than enough to bring about a spiritual and moral revolution within the Jamaat. For such a revolution to occur, it is not necessary that you all enter Jamia Ahmadiyya and train as missionaries. Certainly, the demand for missionaries is ever increasing, and so we do want as many boys to enter Jamia as possible. However, at the same time, it is also essential that the Waqf-E-Nau in other fields understand their duties to the Jamaat and ensure that they are constantly increasing their religious knowledge alongside their secular education." His Holiness, Ayatollah Ta'ala ibn al-Aziz, enumerates, "Equip yourself with materials that are tabligh focused." Again, equip yourself with materials that are tabligh focused. Thus, all of you, whether you plan to enter Jamia or not, must read the Holy Quran daily and try to read its commentaries, as well as studying the Ahadith and the books of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam. Only then will you be in a position to guide and morally reform others. Only then will you be real assets in our tabligh and tarbiyah efforts. Only then will you be ready to play your role in bringing forth a true spiritual revolution in the world. The knowledge you will gain from such study will provide you with the intellectual power and capability to overcome the argument of those who oppose our religion. Again, His Holiness said, "Get rid of all worldly desires and put your trust in Allah." Another responsibility of Waqf-E-Nau is to get rid of all worldly desires and put your trust in Allah. Furthermore, you must constantly analyze yourself and try to improve upon any personal weaknesses that exist. For example, some Waqf-E-Nau worry that if they give too much time to the Jamaat or become Waqf-Zindagis, that is, full-time life devotees, they will be deprived in material terms. They wonder how they will earn money and fulfill their personal and family needs. It is wrong for a Waqf-E-Nau to think in this way, and it is not according to the spirit of the blessed scheme of which you are a part. Rather, as members of Waqf-E-Nau, you should realize that worldly and material pursuits are not your objectives. Rather, your goals are spiritual and your lives are to be spent in the service of the Jamaat. Thus, from a young age, you must inculcate a spirit of true sacrifice within yourself. If you are firmly determined and resolute in your ambition to fulfill your pledge of prioritizing your faith over all worldly matters, such financial concern would never enter your mind, and you will not be influenced by worldly attractions or material pursuits. On the 6th April 2019, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz, addressed the concluding session of the UK National Waqf-E-Nau Ijtema, organized by the Jamaat Ahmadiyya UK. His Holiness, Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz, said, "Just like other Ahmadi girls in the UK, you have grown up in this Western society, which we are also growing up in Nigeria here, so it makes it relevant." The Zul proceeds to say, "However, you are distinct from them in one significant respect, which is that your parents, prior to your birth, dedicate your future lives for the sake of your faith." His Holiness said that the Waqf-E-Nau girls are different from others because their parents has dedicated them prior to their birth to the service of faith. His Holiness continued to say, "Your parents prayed that Allah the Almighty enable you to serve Islam and to play a distinguished role in spreading it. reaching far and wide. In light of this, always remember that you must constantly strive to learn and act upon the teachings of Islam. Again, among the roles and responsibilities of Waqf-E-Nau, His Holiness said that 5 times daily prayer is very important and must be held in high esteem. His Holiness said, for any Ahmadi, in fact, for any Muslim, the most basic obligation is to fulfill the rights of the worship of Allah. Thus, the very first thing I wish to remind you is that you must ensure that you are regular in offering namaz 5 times a day. Further, you must offer namaz sincerely and in the state of complete submission to Allah, the Almighty, and not to be in hurry, and not in a hurried way, just so you can claim to have fulfilled your obligation. To truly fulfill the right of worship, you must always keep at the forefront of your mind that you are bowing before Allah, the Almighty, who is all-powerful and all-hearing, and you are presenting your heartfelt hopes and desires to Him. Certainly, the foremost aspiration of any Waqf-E-Nau, indeed of any true Muslim, and of any person who has pledged their life to the service of Islam, should be to attain the nearness of Allah the Almighty. Consequently, it is of absolute importance that you always try to raise the standard of your worship. So here, His Holiness is drawing our attention towards Salat, that our 5 times daily prayer must be constant, and we must observe them in a way that will show humility and will not be in hurry. Another responsibility of the Waqf-E-Nau is recitation of the Holy Quran. The second principal point I wish to draw to your attention is that you must bear in mind that the perfect teachings Allah the Almighty has bestowed upon us in the blessed shape of the Holy Quran is a universal, everlasting, and timeless teaching. Every single instruction of the Holy Quran is according to human nature, and it cannot be suggested that because the Holy Quran was revealed over 1,400 years ago, it is out of date or for a bygone era. Rather, every word of the Holy Quran remains as applicable today as it did in the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nor is it right to say that because the Quran was revealed among the Arabs, it is only for the Arab people. Where the Holy Quran's teaching are for the Arab people, they are also for the people of Europe, the Americas, Asia, Africa, and all parts of the world. Hence, in all respects, just as the Holy Quran was relevant and worthy of practice 1,400 years ago, it remains the same today. Therefore, all Waqf-E-Nau must entirely eliminate from their minds the belief that Islam is an old-fashioned religion or somehow backward. Instead of being a religion of the past, it is a religion of today and tomorrow and will remain until the end of time, inshallah. Here, His Holiness is admonishing us that it is the responsibility of all Waqf-E-Nau that we must recite the Holy Quran, and we should erase it in our mind that it is an archaic or a bygone book or religion. His Holiness continued to say that another role and responsibility of a Waqf-E-Nau is that reading Jamaat literature. His Holiness continues to say, furthermore, we are extremely fortunate that in this era, the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, has enlightened us to the true meaning and interpretation of the Holy Quran and equipped us with the intellectual weapons to respond to those who oppose Islam or query it. Thus, to understand the deeper meaning of the Holy Quran, it is essential you read the books books of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, as well as the other books published by the Jamaat. Certainly, in this era, it is only by reading the books of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, and his khulafa that we can truly comprehend our faith and respond to those who level false allegations against Islam. Here, His Holiness is drawing our attention to the fact that we must continue and ensure that we read the books published by the Jamaat, and especially those written by the Khulafa. Indeed, the Holy Quran is filled from cover to cover with knowledge and direction pertaining to all aspects of your lives and the wider society. The Quran guides mankind all the way from the domestic family unit through to the international relations. In the same way, Islam has taught us about the rights of individuals, including the rights of children, and it has taught us about the right of the collective, including the right of government and public. His Holiness, Ayatollah Ta'ala ibn Aziz, again point out to us another role and responsibility of Waqf-E-Nau by saying, he said, always take pride in your religious values. Again, I repeat, always take pride in your religious values. It has always been my experience that when worldly and materialistic people who consider themselves to be extremely advanced and educated are presented with the true beautiful teachings of Islam, they cannot help but to be impressed, particularly considering the ranging conflicts and division in the world. When we present Islam's peaceful and compassionate teachings, it has an extraordinary effect. Many people are left astonished and overwhelmed by the magnificence of Islam's benevolent teachings. Thus, as sincere Ahmadi Muslim girls and ladies, and as members of Waqf-E-Nau scheme, you should never hold any form of inferiority complex. Again, Usul said, you should never hold any form of inferiority complex about your religion. Never entertain the thought that your religion is somehow backward or out of touch with modern world. Conversely, the more you take pride in your religion and the more you live your lives according to the teachings of Islam, the more others will respect you, and this is how your honor and dignity will be established in the world. Surely, there is no Islamic teaching that should cause any complex or apprehension to emerge in your mind. Never worry for a second that others might taunt you or consider you to be a laughing stock because of your religious belief. If they mock, let them. Some people criticize or deride Porda and hijab, while others disparage our way of offering namaz. Unfortunately, some young Ahmadis, particularly teenagers, develop an inferiority complex or feel humiliated and rejected by such ridicules. However, if you are ever mocked for acting upon your religion, you should never take it as a personal humiliation. Rather, you should consider it to be a badge of honor and feel pride in the knowledge that you have stayed strong in your faith in the face of adversity. Showing patience and keeping your head high in such circumstances is the true means of establishing your honor and self-respect in the world. We are the fortunate ones, as we have not forgotten our values. Be righteous, observe the highest morals, speak the truth, uphold Islamic principles, and strive to be better Muslims every day of your life. Only then can we ensure that our children and the generations who follow are in safe hands and will grow to be a source of pride for the Jamaat. Always remember that both believing men and believing women, it is necessary to keep taqwa, righteousness, at the forefront of your mind, which means to strive towards attaining every form of goodness and virtue. Thus, endeavor to be the most truthful. Again, His Holiness said, a Waqf-E-Nau should endeavor to be the most truthful, the most hardworking, and the most faithful servant of Islam. Consider it your lifelong duty to spread the true message of Islam. His Holiness pray that may Allah the Almighty enable all of you to live righteous lives and to draw ever close to your Creator. His Holiness, Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz, addressing the Waqf-E-Nau at their Ijtema, held at the 25th of February 2018, continue to enumerate, in terms of your responsibilities, first and foremost, every Waqf-E-Nau should have the highest standard of worship and should set a positive example for others to follow in regard. Again, His Holiness said that in terms of your responsibilities, the first and foremost of every Waqf-E-Nau should be that he should hold his worship in the highest standard. No member of Waqf-E-Nau should miss any of the 5 daily prayers. Again, no member of the Waqf-E-Nau should miss any of the 5 daily prayers, and they should try to offer congregational prayers as much as possible. If you live in a far distance from the nearest mosque or Salat center, try to arrange congregational prayers with other Ahmadi boys who live nearby. Again, part of our responsibilities is to increase our faith by watching the MTA. His Holiness Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz said, increase your faith by watching MTA. That is, furthermore, in order to fulfill your pledge, you must have knowledge of your faith. It is impossible to serve your religion if you do not know what it is and what it requires. As I have said earlier, you should constantly try to increase your knowledge by reading the Holy Quran and as well as studying the Ahadith, the books of the promised Messiah and other Jamaat literatures. Also, attach yourself with MTA and at least listen to my sermons every day. Huzur Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz advised that all Waqf-E-Nau should try their best to listen to the Friday sermon every time it is on. Then Huzur continued to enumerate that part of the responsibilities of a Waqf-E-Nau is to control his temper. Huzur said, control your temper. In all respect, people should be able to distinguish between you and others. People should be able to identify you as member of Waqf-E-Nau simply by observing your high moral standards. They should view you as an example for others to learn from. For example, when you are young, it is easy to become angry over small things. But as a Waqf-E-Nau, you should control your temper and show patience at all times. Again, Rasul said, as Waqf-E-Nau, you should control your temper and show patience at all times. Rasul again enumerates that you should improve in your own habit. Improve your own habit. This is another role and responsibilities that is saddled on a Waqf-E-Nau. Improve your own habit. At all times, it should be clear to other Ahmadis and non-Ahmadis that you have been brought up in a good way and that you have followed Islam's teachings in all aspects of your lives. It is very easy to display good behavior in front of few people occasionally, or to appear open-hearted over those matters where you do not have a personal interest. However, the real test lies when you yourself have a personal interest or face some difficulties. It is at such time that the true character and moral fabric of a person is shown. And so, as member of Waqf-E-Nau, you should remain truthful and good-mannered at all times and in all circumstances. Similarly, it is easy to instruct others to be kind or to be humble and selfless. But before instructing others, you should first reform and improve your habits. Uzu said again, but before instructing others, you should first reform and improve your own habits. Then another responsibility and role of a Waqf-E-Nau is that have friends within the Jamaat. His Holiness Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz said, good company is always very important, and so you should choose your friends wisely. Seek good and moral friends and stay away from those who are involved in bad behavior. You should avoid quarrels or unnecessary disputes. You should also avoid inappropriate friendships or relationships with girls. Again, you should avoid quarrels or unnecessary disputes. You should also avoid inappropriate friendships or relationships with girls. You should also avoid, from a young age, you should be regular in attending Jamaat events and take an active part in them and offer as much of your time as possible to serve the Jamaat. Again, in another enumerating to us the roles and responsibility of Waqf-E-Nau, His Holiness Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz stated that start doing tabligh at your young age. Start doing tabligh at young age. In terms of tabligh, from a young age, Waqf-E-Nau should have the habit of spreading the message of Islam. In today's world, many people hold a negative view of Islam, and so it is a great challenge for all of you to counter the false impression that has developed. It is your duty, even more than others, to show the world that Islam is a religion of peace, love, and compassion. Thus, at weekends or during holidays, you should do tabligh and play your role in defending Islam from the false allegations that are leveled against it. Both the Jamaat and the Majlis Qudamul Ahmadiyya host tabligh functions and events, and so you should offer your services and try to help as much as possible. Where you will be gaining the pleasure of Allah by extending the message of Islam to others, you will be increasing your own knowledge, experience, and confidence. Again, I take that again. Where you will be gaining the pleasure of Allah by extending the message of Islam to others, you will be increasing your own knowledge, experience, and confidence. These skills will, inshallah, benefit you throughout your life. His Holiness, Ayatollah Ta'ala bin Aziz, talking about the hallmark of a Waqf-E-Nau, hallmark of Waqf-E-Nau member. Moreover, humility and forbearance are very important characters and qualities that you should develop. Again, humility and forbearance are very important characteristics and qualities that you should develop. In fact, humility should be the hallmark of all members of Waqf-E-Nau. I take that again. Humility should be the hallmark of all members of Waqf-E-Nau. On the other hand, you should have a hatred for any form of arrogance and pride, and you should do a personal jihad against it. Further, you should try to offer the Friday prayers each week and make sure that you listen to my Friday sermon. At all times, you should try to increase your relationship with the Khilafat. I take that again. Uzur said, at all times, you should try to increase your relationship with the Khilafat. More than others, members of Waqf-E-Nau should seek the nearness and guidance of Khalifa. Again, more than others, members of Waqf-E-Nau should seek the nearness and guidance of Khilafat at all times. You should be example of obedience and should strive to understand and fulfill whatever instruction the Khalifa a Waqf gives to the members of the Jamaat. If a person does bayat, it is not enough for him to merely accept Ahmadiyya as the truth. A verbal declaration on its own is not enough to gain Allah's blessings or to please Him until it is accompanied by sincerity and pious conduct. Finally, the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam said, thus, once you enter the Jamaat, strive to be righteous and fear Allah at all times. Abstain from all forms of wrongdoing and vice. Be kind in your speech and make istighfar, asking God for forgiveness of one sin. Your constant and companion. Again, be kind in your speech and make istighfar your constant companion and pray with great sincerity during Salat. At the end, Uzul prayed. At the end, I pray that may Allah grant you all the ability to fulfill the sacred pledge and bond that was first made by your parents prior to your birth, and which you have since renewed, and the younger Waqf-E-Nau children will inshallah renewed. May all of you fulfill your duties and be among those who bring about a true and everlasting spiritual evolution in the world. Ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan jazak.